Hey, this is Shane,
And this is Keith.
and we are Seekers of the
Unknown.
All right.
Yo, yo.
Yo,
What's up, everybody?
we're we're doing this remote, so we're gonna do Seeker Keith's tour finds.
Yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon right now. What episode is this? 7, right?
7 or 8.
7 or 8. So welcome to 7 or 8. I think it's 7. Might be 8. I don't know. But yeah, figured out this remote thing. I'm in Portland, Oregon. A very nice day. Been on the road since last Thursday. So a little over a week and a half.
Nice, nice.
And boy, do I have some stories for y'all. So to kick things started, I just want to say that I'm glad we figured out this remote thing because it's cool. So now we could probably have like guest people on
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
I should be back. What's today? Right now it's the 11th, so I'm going to be back pretty much in November. So we'll see what we can squeeze out of me between now and then.
Especially if you come across anything crazy, you know.
Yeah. So last night was pretty crazy, but even before that, I texted you when we basically broke down right outside of St. Louis. We had a flat tire.
Yeah.
It looked like it was like exploded, shredded. I wish we took you on tour so you could have helped us, but we had to wait 3 hours for AAA to get there because it was like 1:30 in the morning.
Jesus.
But I went outside and the sky was like insanely clear. Like you could see every star. Like I opened up my Google Sky Map and I saw like Jupiter, Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Orion's Belt, all the essentials. Then I was explaining to my friend what Jupiter, because he was like, "You can see Jupiter from here," and I was like, "Yeah." And then we both saw a shooting star, and it scared me. Like I jumped. I had never seen a shooting star before. At least I don't remember. Nothing like that blatant. I was like, "Yo, did you see that?" And he's like, "Yo, did you see that?"
I'm sure with it
We're
being
like,
so clear too, you could see.
dude, it literally scared me. Like, because we were so focused on Jupiter, it was just like, "Did you?"
What?
So of course I made a wish, and I can tell you all what the wish was because it came true. I wish that AAA would come and change the tire, and they did. 3 hours later. So, should I just jump into like what I was telling you about?
Yeah,
Pretty
definitely.
much like the big part of this episode.
Yeah.
All right. So we're on tour with a few bands, and one of them is this band Prince Daddy and the Hyena, and they were talking about how they stayed because we had to drive from San Francisco to Portland, and what we did was we stayed right outside of Sacramento. Hung out with Will's like family because his brother and sister-in-law live there. Put us up. It was cool.
Nice.
We ended up driving up through Northern California, and our homie's girlfriend band was playing Portland, coming down to San Francisco. So it's funny. We both had an off day. We're going up. They're going down. And he's like, "Yeah, they're staying in like Lake Shasta or something." So we're like, "All right, we'll just drive there for the night, and then in the morning we'll drive the rest." So one of the bands, Prince Daddy and the Hyena, they said that they stayed in Mount Shasta, and that it had like a really bad reputation of missing people, like some of the most cases of missing people in the world.
Wow.
I've never heard of this place, so I'm just like, "Oh, interesting. Let me like Google this really quick." And so I started reading some stuff, and I'm just like, forget about the missing people. This place is crazy.
Huh.
So first of all, Mount Shasta is like a big ass mountain. Um, we're explicit, so I can swear, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the most largest dormant volcanoes in the U.S. And I'm like, whoa, I've never even heard of this place. It's very remote. It's like lots of trees and mountains, and it just seems like the perfect ideal place for like paranormal stuff to happen. So I started reading some articles, and I'm just like, I'm reading it out loud to the band, and I'm just like, yo, this place is crazy. I feel like we're in an episode of the X Files or something. So basically, a lot of Indian tribes from back in the day consider this mountain very, very spiritual. I wrote down some of the Native American tribes that are associated with it.
Yeah.
But before that, let me just let you guys know it's like you can look it up, Google like Mount Shasta on Google Maps. It's like north of Redding, California, like heading towards Oregon. I forgot the route that it's along, but it's right along the highway. Like you pass through it. So some of the Native American tribes associated with this mountain is Achuwami or Achumawi, sorry, Shasta, Modoc, Otsugewi, and Winnemem Windu tribes. The Shasta tribe, which I guess the mountain is named after, the legend is that this is their birthplace, and they're the descendants of grizzly bear people and the great spirit of the mountain. They say that the slopes above the tree line are very sacred, and only shamans and the spirits of the dead were allowed to go there.
Wow.
So this place is very spiritual for lots of different Native American tribes. I only wrote down the Shasta one, but the other ones also believe they're spiritual for other reasons. This place is also like a big tourist trap because people go there for skiing and hiking. It's a very, very beautiful place. So not only is it like spiritual for Native Americans, there's a small community of Buddhist monks that live there. So people travel for that.
Huh.
So here's one of the major things that I was just like, whoa. I read that some locals believe that the Lemurians who survived, the ancient Sumerian continent sinking,
Yeah.
settled there, and that they live in the mountains. And people go there and try to find like the secret entrances to the city where the Lemurians are. And that threw me out of left field. I was just like, whoa.
That's
That's crazy, right?
So I'm looking at it on Google Maps, and this place looks huge.
It's ginormous. I posted a picture on my Instagram story today from a distance, and not gonna lie, I kind of want to go there, but not really.
Oh, yeah, it looks
Because I don't want to
super
go missing.
remote.
It's very remote, and there's lots of bears, and I don't want to get eaten by a bear. But I do want to find some Lemurians. I think we talked about Lemuria a little bit on the Atlantis episode.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, it's just one of those ancient continents that predates Atlantis, or like right slightly before Atlantis. Let's see. Do you have any comments yet for this, or you want me to keep going?
Yeah, just
All right. So not only did that throw me out of whack because I was just like, that's so random, but there's another big thing. So back in like the 1900s, there's this engineer called Guy Ballard, and he wrote about this in his book called Unveiled Mysteries. But apparently, him and his wife were climbing the mountain and encountered an ascended master named Saint Germain. So, for those who don't know what I mean by ascended master, so ancient peoples were said to be like very like spiritually, uh, what's the word, advanced. Like more in tune with like spirits and dimensions and knowledge and if you think about existence as being like the source, being like God, and we're all extensions of that source on different levels. The higher dimension you're in, the closer you are to the source.
Right.
To put into perspective, ascended masters is like if we as humans raised our like vibrational like essence to the point that we're like on a higher dimension than this physical plane and we're like closer essentially to God. Like we're just very knowledgeable, very in tune with nature and the universe and love, and it gets pretty complicated, and we can go down that rabbit hole. But for the sake of the story, we'll just say like it's just like a evolution of a human spirituality.
Yeah, like a higher
So this
power
guy,
of a human.
yeah, like a higher power. Um, so this guy encountered an ascended master named Saint Germain and learned from him a philosophy that each person has their own individual omnipresence, his or her own God self, with the potential to ascend and become a higher immortal form. So I'm kind of into that kind of stuff too. So I'm just like, whoa, like this is crazy. And they formed like a group or cult or whatever you want to call it called the I Ams. And these people meet like every year and have meetings, and some of it is more public, some of it is not public at all. And it just blew my mind because I had no idea this was even a thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it keeps going. It keeps going. So, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess here in the early 90s, there's been like various UFO sightings here. One particularly being a case of which people saw a UFO being chased by like two missiles. Like I don't know if like the U.S. was like trying to defend themselves against something or saw like UFO as a threat and just like first reactions like, yeah, we got to shoot this down. But it ended up crashing onto the mountain, and there's a newspaper article saying like trying to cover it up, like, oh, it was, I don't know, excuse A or excuse B. And eventually, just over time, people just forget about it because it would like, I don't know, maybe because the town is so remote that people just moved on. But there's been cases of UFOs and also cryptids.
That's crazy.
So I'm just jumping around. We can revisit some of these if you want. But this was like insane to me. So there was a guy, I forgot what his name was, but he encountered a family. Well, he encountered a cabin that smelled like kind of funny. So him and his squad like kind of approached it, and they made eyes with a family of Sasquatches, like a male, a female, a child, and they just kind of like stared at each other with the same sense of panic, like they were scared, and then the Sasquatches looked scared. So instead of like, going towards them like every horror movie, they were like, nah, we're good, and they walked away, and they reported it or whatever, and I guess a year later, the U.S. Forest Service tore down the cabin without giving any reason.
Yeah.
And denying any association with Sasquatches being there.
That's crazy because.
So what the dude believes is that, yeah, it's not like Bigfoot or Sasquatches exist. They're very like endangered, but it's like a whole race of them, and they, but they exist.
Almost like they like relocated them.
Yeah, either that or maybe they just like live there just because nobody bothers them. But if it's a cabin, then maybe they discovered it, or I don't know.
That's crazy. And they say like with a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, there's always that like horrible smell too.
Yeah. So that was an article. It was like, yeah, there was like this weird like smell. I don't know if it was like leathery or like a moldy smell, or I forget exactly how they described it, but it drew the guy towards the cabin because of the smell.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm thinking maybe either, like you said, maybe they had him living there, maybe for whatever reason, like the government or powers that be, or maybe the family just kind of discovered an abandoned cabin and settled there. I don't know.
Right. Well, what I'm thinking is like when the cabin was gone, like they told them, all right, they know you're here, so now you have to leave and like, you know, tear down the evidence.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we got to move you somewhere else, and get rid of all the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then to top this all off, there's also said to be the 13th Mayan crystal skull located there.
No way.
Yeah, no, I didn't really go deep into that, but it mentioned like some lady who believed like there was a calling that she was to move there, and there's two pieces of the crystal skull. She had one, and the other one was there, and if you bring them together, here's the thing: um, it wasn't like a where was I going? Oh, the crystal skulls where it's like data, like
Yep.
it was more so like if you put the crystal skulls together, they emit like this energy of love and peacefulness and togetherness and like some hippie stuff. There was lots of hippies there. Like we got coffee in the morning and there was like some straight up like Woodstock hippies. Like it was crazy.
That's nuts.
So it just blows my mind that this place was never on my radar.
Well, what's crazy is you were there.
Yeah. So we didn't stay there. We stayed maybe like 20 minutes outside of it. Um, but we got coffee there, and I was just spending all the time just researching it because I was so interested,
That's awesome.
and I'm really into like the idea of like Lemurians. So I'm like, oh, maybe when I go to bed, I can try to like meditate and see if I can contact them. Disclaimer: I've never channeled anything. I think channelings are interesting, and it could be true in some cases, but I've never experienced it myself. So, but
I
it
had
seems like a place. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a friend send me a video on how to like meditate and make contact. I will shoot that to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you should send that to me. I have an idea. It's just hard when I was really tired and I'm in like a hotel room with like my bandmates. So it's like I feel like you have to be very in a quiet location with no distractions or headphones on or something.
For sure, and very relaxed and just
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was a pretty cool experience, and you can kind of like feel the energy. I don't know if I'm just saying that because I read all that stuff.
I'm sure it'd feel like if you knew like I don't know something was haunted and you're in there, you get that uneasy feeling. So I'm sure with reading into all that, you were like on alert.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to go to the mountain, but I would never because I know how scary nature can be.
Right.
I'm not trying to get mauled by a bear or abducted by the eye people.
After I watched those missing 411 documentaries, it totally changed how I felt about going on hikes and everything else.
Yeah, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
But what if Lemurians are there, bro?
Could be. That's where the other pieces of the crystal skull could be, in one of their caves.
Yeah. So I kind of just blew that load of the mountain. I know I went from like, oh, is this explicit to just going 100. But yeah, that's Mount Shasta. I'm sure there's other things about it. Like I want to look into the actual missing people
Yeah.
and like the details of which they disappeared.
Yeah, I would be curious to see why they were up there.
Yeah, I mean, given the people at that coffee shop, I could definitely see like something could be going on there. Some midsummer type stuff, like, oh, welcome to our wonderful town, full of peace and love. We're gonna sacrifice you to Saint Germain.
To the Lemurians.
So, yeah, that could be added to our list of potential places to come to in the future.
Yeah,
Once we're both
absolutely.
super rich and
That's crazy.
have a Secrets of the Unknown private jet.
That's awesome.
I'm hoping to see some more crazy stuff on this tour, especially going up into Canada, because we'll be in Vancouver in a couple days,
Yep.
and then doing Calgary, Edmonton. Hoping to see like Northern Lights from Edmonton. I heard you could, and I really, really, really would like to.
That'd be awesome. I've always wanted to see them. I heard you can see them from Mount Washington, but
If we can, we should find like the prime time of the year to do it, and we should do it.
absolutely.
So that's pretty much all I got for the my journey so far. Shooting star and the mysteries behind Mount Shasta.
Nice.
I wonder if there's any like documentaries about it. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe we can we'll just do a whole episode on it or something.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
it's been really hard for me to like research stuff because there's just so much. It's just so time constrained. Like we
Mm-hmm.
leave, and then we head to like the venue at a certain time and load in. Then we got a sound check at a certain time, and then I have a small window between after we sound check and when the doors open. So,
Yep.
but we figured it out this week.
Yes.
Do you have any? I know you're talking about space news. Do you have any cool space news?
Yeah, so um hold on a second here. Um
I
so
just
I
put you
don't
on the
know
spot.
what's that?
I said I just put you on the spot.
No, no, I had it. I just didn't have it open. So I don't know if you heard that NASA shot like a rocket up to hit an asteroid to knock it like off orbit. But
Oh wow, no, I didn't.
yeah, so we actually successfully did that. So pretty much like the movie, Don't Look Up, how they were gonna shoot, you know, a missile up there and blow the asteroid to pieces. So we
Yeah.
tested that to see if we'd be able to do it. And it says NASA's DART impact changed asteroid's orbit forever in planetary defense test. So, a dramatic asteroid crash that slammed a NASA probe in a space rock is a first of its kind test to defend our planet. To defend our
Dude, that's
planet
crazy.
was more effective than scientists dreamed possible. The Double Asteroid Redirection Test, DART or DART, spacecraft slammed into a small asteroid called Dimorphos on September 26th. The mission was meant to test a a potential sorry potential planetary defense technique in case a large space rock ever threatened to collide with Earth. So that's
Dude,
that's
that's
pretty
crazy.
crazy. Yep.
That's stuff like you think of as a kid. It's like, oh yeah, the asteroids came and killed all the dinosaurs, and it could happen again. And you're like, yeah, can we just shoot a rocket into space? And the teacher's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you, stupid?
And now the teachers are like, yes.
But yeah. So they the goal was to shorten the orbit around Earth or across. I guess they're calling the orbit past Earth. Um, by 73 seconds, and the collision actually shortened it by 32 minutes.
Oh wow,
So it like immensely knocked it off.
the orbit that would hit us.
Yep.
That's cool.
The DART
This is only
spacecraft.
the beginning, I believe, probably.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine it's only going to get bigger and bigger. It says the DART spacecraft cost $314 million and it weighed about 800 pounds. And
I
it was,
mean, small price to pay to save humanity, right?
yeah, it says it was launched in November of 2021. And it was equipped with a single instrument, a camera. Yep,
That's so cool.
that's crazy. So that was like the first one I had, and then the second one I had was Space Force telescope will hunt foreign spacecraft, asteroids, and comets too. The military surveillance telescope is permanently relocated to Australia after a few years of testing it in the United States. Um,
Oh
the
wow.
yeah, the U.S. Space Force says its space surveillance telescope is operational in Australia, providing a new perspective on the sky to look for foreign spacecraft, space debris, and astronomical objects of interest. So
That's pretty dope.
yeah, yeah, it's
I love how like space involved like the world's been.
yeah. We've been like increasingly like more interested in space, and I don't know if it has to do with, well, it kind of touches a little bit on it, but I think it has a lot to do with where our technology is going and how we're, with um like Tesla putting out the satellites up in space. That's like our telecommunication now. So if something was to hit it and ruin it, we need to
That
make
would
sure
not
that
be
doesn't
good.
happen. So it actually it
That's so
said,
cool.
yeah, yeah. It says the telescope is its primary mission is to look for foreign spacecraft or space debris orbiting the Earth. Um,
Well, you said spacecraft first.
yeah, it says spacecraft or space debris. Um, it can track faint
Okay.
it can track faint objects in deep space to help predict and avoid potential collisions, as well as detect asteroids and comets, according to the Space Force statement. It does say
Yeah. So
it's gonna scan to make sure, like, SpaceX sending thousands of Starlink satellites into orbit and increasing the chances for like collisions. They can use the telescope to predict if anything's going to hit it a lot farther out.
and then we could shoot the rockets.
Correct.
So when they shot the rocket, was the thing already in space, like, and then they shot it from space, or did they shoot it from Earth to the asteroid or whatever?
So it says that um it was launched in November of
November.
2021. Let's see. Um,
Okay.
it trekked out to the asteroid, which scientists had estimated was about 525 feet wide, and orbited another asteroid. So it looks like we launched it in November of 2021 at the comet to be able to hit it. It just took that
Oh
long to
wow.
hit it,
That's so cool how they can just calculate that so precisely.
right? But yeah, that's what I had for space news. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know that. I need to stay more on top of that. Or I can just hit you up and you can keep me on top of it.
And nobody looks into it. Everybody thinks it's a joke, but this stuff's pretty important.
Yeah.
And you know, like everybody watched the movie Don't Look Up and thought it was a joke, but our government's not going to tell us if an asteroid's going to wipe us off, you know, wipe us off the planet, because then everybody's going to panic. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's like if we have the means to defend ourselves, we're gonna do it.
absolutely.
Until we get like alien invasion and rockets won't work. That's what we're really preparing for.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But yeah, that's all I got for
Cool.
that.
Well, I hope in the next couple weeks, like I said, when I'm in Canada and in the crazy remote mountainous areas, I have another cool story to tell y'all. I wish I got to stay in Mount Shasta a couple of days, or actually experience any of that stuff myself. Just drive, look to my right, and I see a Sasquatch like waving at me, like, yo, what's up? But as hard as I was looking, because I didn't see anything.
That's crazy.
That's all I got.
All right.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Thanks for listening.
Yes.